Hello, everyone, and welcome to Petite to Queen's Claim Your Career Crown podcast. I'm your host, Lynn, and today I'm joined by our special guest, Paula Fellingham. And our wonderful content director, Rachel, will be conducting today's interview. Welcome, Paula and Rachel.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Rachel Whitbeck, the content director of Petite to Queen, and today I have the honor and privilege of speaking with Dr. Paula Fellingham. And today we're going to be discussing how to connect with your target market and ideal clients. So Dr. Paula Fellingham is the founder and CEO of Win-Win Women. Win-Win Women is a global multimedia network and international community of women that combines today's best platforms: television shows, weekly online video shows, social media, a website, an app, live events, an online university, and local group gatherings in circles. And she does this all to help 3.9 billion women achieve a level of excellence in every area of their lives in an environment created by women for women. She is the author of 8 books, including the internationally popular Believe It, Become It, How to Hurdle Barriers and Excel Like Never Before. Dr. Paula is also the recipient of the Point of Lights Award given by U.S. President George W. Bush, and she's the recipient of the President's Volunteer Service Award given by U.S. Presidents Barack Obama and Donald Trump. Dr. Paula was honored as Washington State Mother of the Year, Utah State Woman of the Year, and New York City News National Woman of the Year in 2021. Dr. Paula has written articles for People magazine, International Business Times, Boston Globe, ABC 11, Worth Magazine, Family Living, Executive Excellence, and many more. And finally, as she pointed out during our last interview, Dr. Paula is a wife, mother of 8, and grandmother of 25. Impressive. So welcome, Dr. Paula.
Thank you so very much. It's a joy being with you, Rachel.
Fantastic. I'm so excited to be speaking with you again.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Paula, you have a lot of accomplishments in this field, so you know exactly what you're talking about with business. How would you define target marketing and ideal client personas?
Well, it's actually in the name, who's your target and who's your ideal, the person who you most want to connect with, the person who is the one who will see your product and service and say, yes, that's for me. That's your target market. You can start big and say, all women. You can get a niche and you go smaller. And I'm sure you know what niches are. They're just smaller increments of your target market. And you can get down to, maybe if you're talking is like motherhood and parenting, let's say that. So you'd be talking to single moms in America. So that's a much smaller niche from our target market, which, as you mentioned, is 3.9 billion women. And I need to mention, Rachel, when I say that, and people are like, how are you going to do that? Because technology has progressed to the point where every woman on the planet, no matter if she's in the deepest jungles of Uganda or Kenya or anywhere where I have been, then they have access to, even if they don't own a phone, they can get to a phone, even if it's low bandwidth, once a week. So we know that every woman has access to it. And we're like, why would we leave women behind? We want to help all women achieve a level of excellence in every area of their lives. So that's a long answer to your short question, but there you go.
Thank you. And I found it really inspiring that you're going after, makes it sound like it's predatory, but you're trying to reach out to all women in the world.
True.
So your target audience is quite large.
Yes.
But in general, why is understanding your client persona so valuable for long-term success in business?
Well, you have to, because if you don't, then you're wasting a lot of time. If you, for example, let's go back to if you're a parenting expert and you're just throwing the net out to all, if your target market is single mothers in America, we'll just keep using that analogy, and yet you're sending messages out to all women, then you haven't niched down to your niche, then you're actually wasting time, because you might have women coming and saying, I want to know what you, but they'll, what you're teaching, what you're offering. And then they would say, well, wait a minute, that's not me. And if they say that's not me, then you're not going to sell your products and services that are niche to that niche. So you just have to be very aware of the persona. What does that woman look like? What is she feeling? What is she needing? That's the biggest thing. What does she need right now? And how can I create product and services that meet that exact need? And when she sees that you have what she needs, she's like, okay. And then she buys it and she stays, and then you're able to grow your following, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it seems almost intuitive, doesn't it?
It really is. And yet, unless you think about it, unless you've had someone explain this to you, and unless you've, met with or meeting with mentors and coming, listening to things like this and reaching out and finding, Google, finding the podcast, finding the books, finding the things that will help you become an expert in your field. And then really taking time to think about, what is that woman who is my target market? And I almost, there's a part of me that hesitates thinking about women as the target market. And yet that's how we describe it. But the women are so precious and they have such needs in different areas of their lives. We're just saying, okay, this is our target. And yet target market, Rachel, it almost makes me feel like we're not doing justice to how precious they are and their needs, but that's how we describe it. But the persona of your target market, the women who are the ones who you need to meet with, you need to, it really behooves you then to find out what she is like, what she needs. And I know I'm repeating myself, but this is so important. And then what I've done through the years is research, and I've reached out to so many women saying, what do you need? What do you need right now? When you wake up concerned in the middle of the night, what are you thinking about? And you find the ones who are thinking about and needing what you are offering. And then you learn more about the persona, like you just said, of those women who most need your help. Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah, it is interesting that the language we have to use to discuss the people that we're trying to help. Yeah. Sometimes language is overall a wonderful thing, but sometimes it can create limits to what precisely we're trying to communicate. But
true.
For our terminology for now.
Yeah.
So we're speaking we're speaking to women who are starting their own businesses or have their own businesses.
Right.
Dr. Paula, what's your advice to women who are seeking to connect with and stand out to their target market?
Give them what they need. So find out what they need. We just talked about that. And then give it to them. Give it to them in a variety of ways. The podcast, if you're not, comfortable with that, then you might consider doing, writing a book, writing an ebook, but getting you and your message out to your market, to your women who need you. And based on what they need, then you create that. I suggest video, because look at this. Look how personal this is. This is more personal, of course, than reading it in a book. And yet I've written 8 books, and I want people to be able to have, a very famous radio personality said, the rest of the story, and he says, so I can put in a book much more and a lot more details than I can, for example, just talking today in a video. And yet the videos will help you get then to so that's like an iceberg. That's the tip of the iceberg, but then think about everything that's under the water in the iceberg. So those would be books and courses and trainings and mentoring and coming on in a series of communications, whatever that is, with your target market, with your people who need you. And so there's so many ways that you can meet their needs. And for every expert, they have things that they prefer doing. I love books and I love creating videos. So those are my two main things. And so then you think, as an expert, then you think, what is it that I do best and that I'm most comfortable with? Because the things that you aren't comfortable with, you're not going to continue doing, right? You're going to dread it. Nobody wants to do that. So you just say, hey, I know I need to get out of my comfort zone a bit to do some of the things that will reach my market, my women or men who need me. And yet I've learned, working with so many thousands of experts through the many decades, that I love saying that. There are some advantages to being 74 years old. You could talk in decades instead of months or years. But I know that the ones who are the most passionate about giving solutions in a way that makes them comfortable, like me with video right here, then they'll keep doing that. And that's the best for them. So that would be some advice I would give to experts. Find what you love doing and do it well, and then do it, a lot. Create lots of what is the word? Not the ways that you can offer your solutions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's really important. I like what you said about not doing things that you already know that you like to do or are good at. Obviously, you'll need to reach out of your comfort zone a little bit here and there.
Yes, absolutely.
I do have a follow-up question to that, though. So you've identified the way that you like to communicate: video, books, whatever. How do you make sure that your content gets in front of the people that you know need to see it?
Well, that's something that's an ongoing thing. And actually, when you were asking me that question, Rachel, I thought, you left out something very important. So is it okay if I go back just a bit? So
Sure.
I have co-presented, and that's with connecting with women who are like me, Paula Fellingham, and other countries, and who love putting on events. I love putting on events. And I've co-presented over 400 live events in 152 nations in the 35 years I've been doing this. So I love events. And so when we were listing the things that I love doing, it's really being on stages and sharing heart to heart and connecting with those audiences live. I love the live. The video is great, but even more than video, I just love being on those stages, because there's an energy and there's a mutual giving with an audience that isn't the same with this video. It's just not quite the same, but events are powerful ways. And that's why Win-Win Women one of the things we do best is put on events. A few days ago, I came back from Dubai, where I was speaking on stages, several events. And then in 3.5 weeks, I'll be in India, where I'll be 3 different events, and I'll be on stages sharing with hopefully thousands of women there in the New Delhi area. So I just wanted to caveat that from your last question, honey. Okay, So now moving forward, what was the question? Because I was a little bit focused on my answer to the last one.
No, that's okay. My follow-up question was, how do you make sure that the content that you're creating or events that you're doing are being put in front of the women that you know you can help?
Well, that's a challenge for all of us, right? Because if what I'd love to do is be able to then get videos and our content and our winwinwomen.com and get everything that I work on out to millions of women. And so what I know is that when the time is right, and for those who have a desire to do this, one of the best ways is getting onto the major television shows, which I will, and at the right time, in every nation if you're global, right? And what I know is that it's very inexpensive to be able to get on shows, and in some of the nations you have to pay to get on those shows to be interviewed. In some others you don't. But when you are in front of a television audience or a radio audience, and my father was a radio artist his whole life. This is how he made his living for his whole entire life, is being a radio show host. And I had the joy of hosting a parenting show, Solutions for Families, 2 hours a day, 5 days a week for years. And it wasn't a call-in, it was simply me teaching. So I love that medium. Every way that you can get out, and of course social media, and that's a little bit of my Achilles heel, because I'm not that's not my forte, but I need to get better at it, and we're always improving, right? Being able to use every medium you can to get your message out, but afraid of reaching out to those on television, on radio, and just make sure they have nice, good, big audiences. Because what I've learned, and I could be on so many hundreds of podcasts, and I started being on podcasts when it was, the several years ago when we just started podcasting. And I found that I wasted a lot of time being on podcasts that just had, five people there, and I thought, wait a minute, I need to be able to maximize my time and then go to those who have big audiences. And I need to give a little caveat here, because I've learned this. Sometimes when you are on a podcast, a radio show, and they are telling you, the people you're paying, if you are paying to do this, I've never done that, but if you're paying to do that, because I always had sponsors, but being able to have someone that you pay to be on their platform, mostly, and I've seen this for a lot of years, Rachel, they tell you your audience is bigger than it is. And they'll tell you, and I won't name any names of platforms, but they'll say, oh yes, you have 10,000 in your audience. And I say to the person who has the show, I say, okay, do this. I will give and then do some wonderful gift for the 20th person who calls, or the 10th person. They could decide. And then they try it and they realize that nobody's calling. And so I just want to, since we're talking about this, I want to have people realize that you need to track what the real numbers are, so that you aren't wasting your money and thinking, oh, I'm getting out to these thousands of people, when you're not. So that's just something I'd like to pass along, because that's from the School of Hard Knocks, right?
Yeah, let people learn from your experiences, of course.
Yes.
So it sounds like when it comes to making sure that you get in front of the people that you're trying to help, a big part of that is getting on platforms that have a large audience, right?
Yes, absolutely. Because if you aren't, you're wasting your precious time. You need the larger the audience, the better. And you can, because you need to ask. And my friend Debbie Allen, she has a presentation called Kick Up Your Ask. And I love it, because it's like you reach out, and there are program managers on the radio stations or the television stations, and you come well prepared, and you first email, then you send out an email that says, did you receive this? And then you call, and then you say, I sent this, and I want to tell you that I have something that is so life-changing that I'd like you to consider looking at it. And then if you've done a great job, or if they need that, because sometimes you'll go to someone who that's not their topic at all. So you have to do your research ahead of time to find out, what does this talk show host care about? And what is this all about? What is their show about? And then find the shows, radio, television, and podcasts, and all these mediums, and find out what it is that they care about. And I guarantee that they are looking for great content. They're looking for people who can articulately explain what they have, what the solution is, and how it can benefit that host's audience. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So ask.
Ask, of course.
Yeah.
So that's how you get in front of your audience, hopefully.
Yes.
How can you quickly and effectively attract your ideal clients to you once you kind of popped in front of them one way or another?
Be authentic and love on them. What do people want? We all want the same thing. We all want love. We want appreciation. We want to know that our lives matter. in addition to, of course, the safety and shelter and food and that piece. But everyone wants the same thing. They want to be happy, right? And so if you are giving solutions that help them be happier, live a purposeful life, and what we do is and what I've done, and that's what I so care about, is helping people achieve a level of excellence. That's not perfection, a level of excellence in every area of their lives. So I have books, trainings, courses, videos on all 7 areas of a woman's life, because I've niched to half the planet, right? So, but these are the 7 for men too. And it's mental, physical, emotional, social, spiritual, that's all beliefs, financial, and all your relationships. That's all there is. And when I figured that out decades ago, that I started writing the books and creating the courses and writing the magazine articles and getting the message out of how they can achieve a level of excellence. So I'm giving solutions. And that's what all experts have, right? If you don't have solutions, you're not an expert. Because every expert, even the ones who are, especially the ones in academia, because I've been married 51 years to the love of my life. And what he's been a university professor for all these decades. And so he teaches statistics, but it doesn't matter what your field is, you are offering, even if it's research, others can look at that research, benefit, and that's a solution for them to be able to use your research, upon which then they can build their principles and teach. So any expert in any field can offer solutions, and that's what everyone wants. They want solutions for whatever it is they need, right? That's what we're in the business of doing.
Perfect. Be authentic and speak to their needs.
Yes, and give them solutions, and give them solutions is that third piece. Yeah.
So Dr. Paula, as I said at the beginning, you are the CEO and founder of Win-Win Women. So how can Win-Win Women provide a multimedia platform for your show hosts to connect with their target market and attract their ideal clients?
Oh, well, that's what we're doing right now, Rachel. I want our listeners, our viewers, to go to winwinwomen.com, and you'll see. So we have several platforms. I mentioned events. We have events. We put on events. We have experts, hundreds of them, who then are giving solutions in whatever their field is through video presentations once a week. And they're giving them to their audience. If you care about whatever it is, fill in the blank, starting and growing a business, losing weight, helping a child prevent suicide. The field is, there are many topics, and any time of the day you could go to winwinwomen.tv, and on the .com, then you could click watch shows, and you can listen to an expert. Then the beauty is, and I love this, we're the world's only interactive global women's network and international community. So our interactivity is what makes us what we call in the business world our USP, our unique selling proposition. So you're able to say, oh my goodness, at the end of the 30-minute presentation, 15 to 30-minute presentation, these show hosts, we call them, our experts, turn off the recording, and then whoever's there, they can talk to them, they can ask questions, they can talk, the audience can talk amongst themselves, and they receive solutions. And that's what's happening. So here's the dream. Any woman at any time of the day or night, so 24/7, will be able to access an expert live for free, eventually in her language, on any topic. That's what we're building. That is Win-Win Women. So our wonderful women who are our show hosts now, there's lots of topics at the same time. You might watch a show on finance, and then one on relationships, and then one on health. And yet eventually we will have 50 topics, 24/7 on each individual topic, 24/7. And if you do the math, That's 8,400 presenters every week giving a show. And that's what we're building. And so it's very, very exciting. That's our answer to how can we help 3.9 billion women in every area of their lives. So did that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see how it's useful, a life-changing way for these show hosts to connect with women around the world and for women to get the solutions that they need.
Yep.
And you mentioned earlier that your next event with Women is going to be in New Delhi around International Women's Day.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, I'd love to. And before we go on, and when you were talking then, my mind keeps going. I thought of our formula and I love it, Rachel. And here's the formula. It's very short. Women win when they receive solutions. Experts win when they provide solutions. That's as simple as it is, because that's win-win women. All right. So I am blessed to own International Women's Day.org, not the com, the org, and it's part of the nonprofit activities. But what I love is that every year we're able to put on magnificent events. So during COVID, and it was just 2022 that we did this, we had a virtual event where over 1 million women participated, either through social media, watching the experts, because we had 42 experts speaking. Our show hosts were able to speak. And then we did this on a 2-day, all day, the 5th and the 8th of March. So now we are offering 2 big events. One is the virtual, we're doing the same thing, except it's March 4th, which is a Saturday, and March 8th, which is the next Wednesday. So we'll have that where you'll be able to go to internationalwomensday.org and then click on that, or winwinwomen.com. We'll also have the link there. And then you can watch these wonderful experts all day on Saturday the 4th, all day on March the 8th, which is actually International Women's Day, is the 8th. And so then, and by the way, there are 195 nations ratified by the United Nations as a nation. They see that as a nation in the world. Every nation except 42 have International Women's Day as a national holiday. The US is one that doesn't have it as a national holiday, but in all these other countries, people get off work, the kids are out of school, they have parades. It's a big, big deal. So because there are more women in India than anywhere in the world, there are 600 million women in India. So India is 1/3 the size and 3 times the people, basically, generally. And so we're going there, and we will have the virtual going on, and then we'll have the live, and we have an event on the 4th and the 6th and the 8th, but our biggest event is March 4th. And so we are our guests and collaborators on the 6th and the 8th, but our event on March 4th, and you can learn all about it on internationalwomensday.org. And we are able to then put on a beautiful event. We have many show hosts coming to speak live, and we have entertainment. We have a great big auditorium where it will be, and includes lunch and free for all the women who come. The tradition for International Women's Day in New Delhi, India, is that all International Women's Day, probably 90% of them are free. It's just the way it is. And so that's what we're doing. When in Rome, when in any country, then you find out what their culture is and you adhere. But I also know India so well. This will be my 7th time coming back to produce and execute these wonderful women's events, present them. In 2019, so that's BC, before COVID, then I had 7 events from Bangalore, those who know India, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai, Delhi, and up north into Mount Abu. And we had 30,000 women. These are live events. And so then COVID hit us, and then we've been doing virtual, and now we're doing virtual and live events. So I'm very excited about it. And I'm excited that some of my team is going. Your mother-in-law is going with me, actually. So I'm very excited to have Lynn Whitbeck is magnificent. She's the founder CEO of Petite to Queen, and that's petite with a 2 queen. And then also she is a show host on Win Win Women, and she's a member of our executive team on Win Win Women. So I couldn't be happier. I just need to give a shout out to Lynn Whitbeck, magnificent woman. Yeah.
She really is. And so are you. And thank you to everyone who's watching us now or in the future. Thank you for watching today's interview with the wonderful Dr. Paula Fellingham. What could be more exciting than bringing your expertise to the people that you need to help, using the power of global platforms, including Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire?
Yes.
From generating sales leads, increasing your personal brand value, and providing tons of content and shareable sound bites, to joining a community of women who are cheering you on every step of the way. This is an opportunity. Becoming a show host for Win Win Women is an opportunity that you don't want to miss out on. You can learn more about becoming a show host on Win Win Women today on winwinwomen.com. And the link is one click away. You'll find it in the comments below if you're watching on Facebook, and it'll be around somewhere if you're watching it anywhere else. Thank you so much for staying with us today. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
What an informative discussion between Rachel and Paula. If you have any ideas you'd like to share, please leave us a note in the comment section. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you have a question or would like to suggest topics for discussion, please email us at jointheconversation@petitetoqueen.com. And to stay current on all of our insightful advice, breakthrough advantages, amazing episodes like the one today, please sign up for our weekly wisdoms at petitetoqueen.com. Make sure you don't miss a single episode by subscribing to Claim Your Career Crown wherever you get your podcasts. And while we're on the subject, if you love what we're doing and you love the show, please take that extra second and leave us a 5-star review. We would very much appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening.